So I picked up this spark plug tester. It's actually, they say it can be used as a permanent, you know, you can look through this bit here and you'll see the spark. So there's the connection there. It's got a pin, you might be able to see the pin in there, and you snip the lead, you get the right length, you put this boot over the lead, I suspect with a bit of silicone in it, and through there you wind the end of the spark plug wire into there, and then you've got this, you just shove this forward and it'll hold it all together. And your bike's not running properly, or you just want to make sure you got good ignition, you can just check the sparking as the motor's running. This seems to go onto the spark plug well. I got this on eBay. I just looked up something like spark plug or spark test, and get a couple of these, they should work good. So if you keep following my videos, maybe one day you'll come across one, and it'll be about the installation and long-term success or failure of this spark plug tester. So there it is. If you're interested, flashing red spark plug HD coil tester ignition coil. CC Motorcycles 2012, and $11, so $12.99, and it costs $7.99, so $12 to buy, and $8 postage. This is probably the buy of the century, one of the best buys I've ever come across. This is a compression tester from Oz Buy It Now. $27.80, got it delivered here. It actually cost $27.50, but now it's just gone magically to $27.80. So those are the prices on eBay, not the prices that were taken out of my bank account, which are usually more. Okay, so back to it. It's the 19th of the 7th 2015. Okay, compression tester. It's a semi unboxing. I've just opened up the front of it here. Okay, what have we got? Some instructions. Thank you for the purchase. Take a photo of the address label. Okay, so they've got a system set up where if there's any problem with the purchase, they'll set up a response team, as they call it, or something like that, and you get a refund. Okay, so it's all there. Okay, so that's got a rubber washer. I'll just tighten the rubber washer onto the cylinder head. Okay, so there's this connector, and just fit that in. Again, it's got a rubber washer. Yeah, okay, so you just pull down the lobe there, or whatever you want to call it, just push it down a bit further and it'll seal it up. Okay, I've got both spark plugs out. I've got the spark plugs grounded to the engine so that I don't burn the ignition out. and I'll do that test again. Front cylinder compression test with the throttle wide open. Ah, 140 psi. 140. Okay, so the choke cable is pulled right out, and this is for the front cylinder, so the throttle will be wide open. So I'll just turn the key on. Okay, apologies, I left the camera on there, but we're reading 145 psi. Don't know if that's showing up or not. Okay, now the rear cylinder with the choke fully out and the throttle wide open. Turn on the light again. Okay, so I've got 150 psi. The owner did say that this was an imported motor from the USA, and he put it in himself, so I think that's a good reading. Whatever you do, try not to forget to ground your plugs. Keep your plugs on the engine. So yeah, whenever you do a compression test on a motorbike, make sure that the throttle's open and the the choke's wide open. It could be the same on a car, I'm not really 100% sure. Okay, so I've got compression pressure approximately 120 psi. 120 psi, and I was getting 150, so I have to look into that. Okay, this next compression test is with a bit of oil in the bore, so I just put a bit of oil in now. Okay, the battery's recharged, the choke and throttle will be open. We'll see what we get. Okay, 150. That's a good engine. Okay, rear cylinder. Okay, that's close to 155, 160. And I'm thinking at this stage that's a long-term, good engine test. Okay, so we've got spark, we've got good compression. We've got fuel flowing to the carburetor, so that only leaves the possibility of a carburetor rebuild and timing. So I'll try and do the timing now. Okay, the timing light connecting to the front cylinder, connecting to a separate battery, the negative first and then the positive. Okay, I'm going to remove the timing plug. I've got this Allen key and I've had to just grind down the edge of it just so that it fits in that plug. Just remembering, I haven't timed this bike yet. I got the timer about I'd say roughly about a month ago, and so this is the first time for the bike. Now you can get a see-through plug. I'll get one if I really have to, but for now I've got this round piece of PVC and I'm just going to slot it in there, and hopefully I can time through this hole in the PVC. Yeah, so whether it'll work or not, or I'll get an oil bath, I don't know. I've just cut this V out and that slipped in there a couple of weeks ago, so alright, I'll see what I can make of it. So what I'll do now is I'll start the engine up, and if oil comes out and hits the camera, then you know that this isn't going to work. Okay, so obviously that didn't work. There is a gap between the top of the crank there and the engine. So okay, so next week or the week after I'll be back with a timing plug, new iridium spark plugs, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we'll let that plug dry, and next week or the week after we'll try to do the timing. Just a reminder, in the future videos there'll be the installation of this spark strength tester on the bike, so I've got a feeling this will be a really good addition to the bike. Okay, so the vision's a bit blurry because of the oil I got on the lens, however this work's inspired by SYY Energy 7, and he says he's got a Sportster, and man, if this reaches you, this information is really appreciated. SYY Energy says that this regulator rectifier is grounded on the frame, and so just to make the contact good between the regulator rectifier and the frame. SYY Energy has had his Sportster since 1989. He bought it new, so he knows this type of bike much better than me. He also recommends, this is the amp fuse, so the battery positive cable goes to the starter motor, and then it goes to the amp fuse. You see, this amp fuse is actually on the frame. I know that there are rubber brackets here separating this bracket, but it does connect to the frame, and these are the fuses, and the back of it sits in this metal frame, and it's got the positive current running through it, and it can cause sparks, so he said to remove it from its bracket and insulate it. Another thing he does is he pushes these close together, because as you can see, water can get through that gap there, and he puts a tie wire around, and that's to keep it closed. I didn't realise that this was the actual ground. I thought it was grounded via one of these wires down here. So knowing that, I'll put some grease on it. I don't have dielectric grease. I think I might be able to find that in an electrical shop. But just for now, I'll just use waterproof grease. Okay, so looking at it there's the thread. That's a pretty good looking seat that it's got there. It's pretty well clean, and it will go in the thread, so I don't think I need to sand the paint off there or anything like that. So yeah, just to wrap up, I've cleaned up the small nuts here, and I've put grease on them so that there's no corrosion, and so they're looking good. I've also put that plastic tie around this joint here. The other joint's a locking one, but this is just a push together one. It's a little bit suspect, if you ask me, why they didn't just put a push-in waterproof joiner here. But anyway, that's held together now with a plastic tie.